Being here in Washington, D.C., I've seen several servicemen. How should the government address religion in the context of the military? Soldiers wanting to have the right to exercise their faith, and then on the other side to not favor one religion over another.
Well, I believe that they should have the right to practice their religion, and I think that as like the military has now, as long as they have chaplains for not just one religion but a wide variety of religions, I think it's okay.
The courts have ruled that a Jew cannot wear religious attire because the Army promotes unity, and so you also have to keep in mind that with that being a main purpose, sometimes free exercise is less important.
Going back to Kostov's thought, chaplains in the military are also there to provide counseling for the soldiers for the difficult emotional stress that they are experiencing during wartime. So they might not only offer religious comfort, they might offer just psychological comfort as well.
And how do they address which religions are represented by funding from the government, by providing priests, chaplains, others?
I believe that they just do their best to make sure that most major religions in America are represented so that soldiers can have as much freedom of religion as possible.
In Federalist 10, James Madison talked about factions, and I believe that factions are ever present in every aspect of our life, including the military. So I think it's the government's job to determine what is the balance of factions in the military in regards to which religions are present. And then, as Emily said, do their best to provide for all religions so as not to provide an excessive entanglement with any one over the other.
You mentioned health as a compelling state interest to limit religious exercise. Are there other compelling state interests that you can think of?
To limit free exercise?
Yes.
Well, in the case of Employment Division v. Smith, the court ruled that the members of the Native American Church were not allowed to use peyote in their religious ceremonies. Although it was a vital part of their religious practice, it was against the law, and in that case, the health of the community by not using drugs was more important than their free exercise.
So do you see Smith as any different from some of the other cases dealing with free exercise? What's a general standard traditionally used for evaluating free exercise claims?
I see the decision in Smith to be very different from most court decisions, because Smith deals with illegal drug use and it's against the law. It's for every citizen. It's not targeting one specific religion. And so because it's against the law, I think they were right to say that they're not allowed to use this drug.
I feel that cases like the Smith case and also cases like Reynolds v. U.S. deal and come into conflict with the classical republicanism idea of the common good of society. And in order to be a member of society, one expects the rights that they are guaranteed in the Bill of Rights and other parts of the Constitution. But the health of that community and that society and the betterment of that society precedes those rights and is invariably more important than those rights.
However, I feel that sometimes legislators are mistaken in the laws that they make, such as in the case of Church of the Lukumi Babalui in the city of Hialeah. The court struck down a statute which prohibited the possession of animals for sacrifice, and there was a church, the Santeria Church, that had just become populous in Hialeah, Florida, and the court overturned that sanction, saying that really there is no health of the community interest there. There was no compelling state interest to prohibit them from sacrificing the animals in that case. And I agree.
Let me ask this. In California, there's proposition banning gay marriage, and one writer recently wrote that almost all of the opposition to gay marriage is religious. As a result, the law banning gay marriage is a sort of establishment of religion. How do you react to that?
I would say that it's mostly true. Many parts of the Bible, especially the Old Testament, condemn that lifestyle, and the arguments that are against the gay marriage issue stem from morality issues as to what is right and what is wrong, and those morality issues are formed by people who have been brought up in more religious background.
We also have to take into consideration, well, a lot of this may be religious-based, there is also the fact that people are just uncomfortable with this lifestyle of certain people, and until it's more common, people may not be comfortable seeing this.
At the same time, there are many governmental benefits to marriage, such as tax benefits and exemptions and adoption and things like that. So really it can be seen as an equal protection violation to not give them the right to marriage rather than an establishment clause issue.
But do you think it's appropriate for there to be an inquiry behind the law itself and looking instead to what the motivation was? I mean, should the inquiry simply be based on whether or not the law as written is constitutional or not, as opposed to what was the motivation?
I feel that the only thing that the courts have the jurisdiction to rule on is the constitutionality of the law itself, and not whatever motivation might have been behind it. They can only look at the law and see how
Okay,
it
you know,
applies.
we let you finish a sentence. We don't give you a paragraph.